You know what's really crazy? The internet was invented 50 years ago. Well, not quite the internet. I mean, this guy, Vint Cerf, he's considered one of the founding fathers of the internet. He actually wrote the first message that was ever sent over the internet, and he did it 50 years ago this week. It was October 29th, 1973 when Vint Cerf sent the first message over the internet from Stanford University to the University of California, Los Angeles. It read, "Login Vint. Password QWERTY." If you don't know, QWERTY is the name of the first message because those are the first 6 letters on a typical Latin alphabet keyboard. But why were these two universities connected in the first place? Well, they were part of a government-funded project called ARPANET, which was created in 1969. Its purpose was to connect various research institutions across the United States. Back then, computers weren't common in homes or even most businesses. They were mostly used by the military and in research settings, and the computers that were used were massive, taking up entire rooms. But as the number of users and computers on ARPANET grew, it became clear that the network needed a protocol, a set of rules that would allow different networks to communicate with each other. And that's where Vint Cerf and his colleague Bob Kahn came in. They had been working on a new type of network that would use a packet switching technology, which is basically like breaking up a message into smaller pieces and sending those pieces in the most efficient way possible. This was different from the circuit switching technology that was used by phone networks, which involved establishing a complete connection before transmitting data. In 1974, Cerf and Kahn published the first version of the TCP/IP protocols, which would become the foundation of the internet. And that's when things really started to take off. In 1983, the National Science Foundation created NSFNET, a high-speed network that would connect supercomputers at major research universities. This allowed for the rapid exchange of research data, and the internet began to grow rapidly. Of course, it wasn't quite the World Wide Web yet. That came later in the 1990s with the invention of the browser. But without the groundwork that was laid in the 1970s, the web as we know it might not exist. And since we're celebrating 50 years of the internet this week, I thought it would be fun to look back at some of the craziest facts about the early days of the internet. Like, did you know that the first website ever created is still up and running today? Well, it's not exactly the same. It was originally created in 1991 by Tim Berners-Lee, one of the inventors of the World Wide Web, and it served as an information hub for the European Organization for Nuclear Research. But it quickly became clear that the site was too complicated for most people to navigate. So in 1993, Berners-Lee simplified the site and made it more user-friendly. And that's when it became the home of the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, which is an international industry consortium that develops open standards for the web. Today, the site serves as a resource for web developers who want to learn more about the latest web technologies. But it's not the only thing from the early days of the internet that's still around. The first email ever sent over the internet is also still available to view. It was sent by Ray Tomlinson in 1971, and it simply said, "Quote you up." He chose that message because he wanted to see how the text would look on different computer terminals. But he also included the @ symbol in the message, which led to the widespread adoption of the @ symbol in email addresses. But maybe one of the craziest things about the early days of the internet is that it was almost shut down in the 1980s. In 1983, the Reagan administration proposed a plan to deregulate the internet and turn it over to private industry. This would have allowed for-profit companies to start charging users for access to the internet, which would have made it much less accessible to the general public. But fortunately, the plan was defeated and the internet remained a free and open platform. So there's a lot to celebrate as we mark 50 years of the internet. And who knows what the next 50 years will bring. Maybe we'll have virtual reality, or we'll be able to upload our consciousness to the cloud. Well, maybe not that last one. Okay, seriously though, the internet has changed the world in so many ways, and it continues to evolve and grow. Who knows what the next 50 years will bring? But one thing is for sure, it'll be exciting to see what happens. If you like this video, you might also like my video on how the iPhone really changed the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.